Good evening again. My name is Craig Peterman, volunteer with BadgerBots, who is the program delivery organization for the state of Wisconsin, FLL, that is. We got Brian Farrell, our head judge advisor, or one of our two head judge advisors for the state. And of course, Jay Church, one of our three head referees for the state as well. So, as you heard as you came into the call, hopefully it is being recorded, and Jay requests 48 hours after it's over to get it up on our YouTube channel. So, we conduct these meetings as if, it's a full-fledged meeting with every coach, because we do get anywhere from 60 to 80 views after it's posted. Obviously, the benefit of being here is that you can have your questions directly answered. All right, so let's just jump right into it. Hopefully the coaches that are here for challenge, the assignment emails went out on Friday. There were already some modest changes at the edges, nothing major. But if you didn't get the email, please check your spam folder. I did have to respond to a couple of them where I didn't get the assignment email, and sure enough, it ended up in the spam folder. So that process apparently seemed to work okay. The next step is, of course, the payment of the regional tournament, $175. The assignment email came with the link. It's also in today's newsletter, so please take care of that. Of course, of utmost importance is getting the correct team number, entering it as you make your payment so that your team gets credit for having paid. That would help the process significantly if you get those numbers correct. Invoices were also sent out over the weekend, so I believe everybody should have an opportunity to pay in the way that they want to. If there are any issues or questions, or you need more time or something's going on, you know the email, at least I hope you do, fllteams@badgerbots.org. Aside from the payment for the regional, there is also, of course, you need to be event ready at firstinspires.org. You have to have two coaches. They both have to have taken the youth protection program, which is online at firstinspires.org. And of course, pay first fee for the just overall registration within the program. Once you take care of those issues, I should get feedback that you are event ready and everything will be wonderful. So that's about it from the administrative side. Are there any questions about
There's one in
the
chat.
registration and so on?
There's one in chat. Did the assignment email go to both coaches or just the coach that filled in the registration?
The email went to every coach and administrator that was registered at firstinspires.org. So actually, it didn't go to the person. I mean, I'm assuming the email, probably a bad assumption. But anyway, it went to the firstinspires.org registration coaches and administrators. All right. Anything else?
And just kind of one thing on uh, the background check for for coaches, that can take a day or two to clear. So give yourself some lead time on that. Occasionally, they have issues getting things handled. We don't want anybody to have an emergency because they waited the last minute.
I think that came up last time. You do not have to pay for the background check. I think they ask for a donation. Obviously, that's up
Correct.
to you whether you choose to do that. But
Right.
you do
Yeah,
not
you don't
have.
have to pay for it, but it takes time.
Yep.
So I just want to make sure that people, don't do it on Friday hoping they're ready for a Saturday tournament.
Yes.
It was pretty quick yesterday. Um, my wife did hers. They did ask for the payment. I think it was like $8.60 or something. And she got hers within a couple hours. But yeah, I agree. Definitely don't wait until last minute there.
Yep. And we all know that firstinspires.org, the registration system is very challenging. We like to say that's kind of the rite of passage for coaching. If you can figure out that system, you can figure out anything. But it is important that you get it done before, hopefully 2 weeks before your actual regional, so that the tournament directors, I give them the information about the teams, the contact information 2 weeks before the tournament. So if you have it updated with the correct team name, everything should be great. We run into issues when, a coach turnover or the team decides to change their name 2 days before the tournament. We can't really entertain those requests. We just don't have enough time to do it. That's not fair to the tournament directors. So your deadline, hopefully you'll accept this challenge, is to get it done 2 weeks before the event. All right. Anything else? Okay. Well, if not, and of course we'll come back for another round of questions later. Brian, anything to share on judging? Rubrics?
Nothing
anything?
new from the standpoint of new announcements or anything. No questions that came up this week specifically.
Any questions specific to judging, rubrics, event day, general scheduling questions?
We do have, sorry, I have an echo on my side, guys. I hope that's not echoing for everyone. There is an issue with an unannounced update that happened for the age or for the participation requirements. I'm gonna pull that up now, sorry.
Want me to bring up the participants guide?
Yeah, if you could. So I was trying to match what the change was. It says it was changed updated September 2024, but I couldn't find the old one, so I don't know what has changed here. I was chatting with Peggy last night, and she pointed out that last season, that it didn't have the age requirements. It was specific to grades, and now it's back to age again. Yeah, right there in the middle.
Okay. First keeps waffling back and forth on their site too. They use kind of both.
Well, so here's one problem I did see. Right there where it says participants, above it says team members are between the minimum and maximum age or grade. So now they're saying 9 to 14, but elsewhere on their site still it says 4th to 9th grade or 4th to 8th grade. So there's a little bit of inconsistency there. And then the other problem we have is they drop the specification for when the age range starts. It used to be January 1st of competition year was when the age requirement was in effect. That's not there anymore, so it's up for interpretation, which I think, however we go with that is however we go with that, but
Yep.
yeah.
So this is good that you brought this up, Jay. Thank you, because I've already come across this twice now.
Oh,
If you have a participant who does not fall within the range, the first system will not let you register that participant. So the way we are addressing that is send me an email, fllteams@badgerbots.org. There, you'll just have to go the manual route, which is a paper, PDF file, consent and waiver. And so when you go to your event and you hand in your team roster, the printout from firstinspires.org, you'll also hand in the waiver for that one participant who didn't fit nicely within the box and you weren't able to register that particular individual. Fortunately, it's so far been very far and few between. But if you do come across that issue, please email me and we will solve it.
that'll be an interesting one to test now. I would like to
That's
see
wonderful.
if they would let us register a 14-year-old that turned 15 on January 1 or January 2. Because that's how it was. January 1st was the
Yeah.
cutoff. I don't know if that is still the case. Like I said, it's just dropped. It used to be written that way, but it's not written now. So I don't know if they're counting it on, I mean, what, January 1 on August, whatever the release date was. I don't know. So anyway, just something to be,
Yep. Well, and since this doesn't happen very often, I would just assume let's take it on a case by case basis. And if you can't register a participant, email me.
so because I couldn't pull the old, I had a copy from 2 years ago. That was the only thing I could compare, but I didn't have a copy pre-September for this season, and I didn't have a copy for last year. But anyway, I'll get those and look and see if there's anything different that is crazy, but that's the only thing I could see that was a little different to me, but. Peggy, I don't know if you wanted to add on anything to that, outside of the conversation, or, and, you know, with the conversation that we had about it. Do you have anything else to add there? I think I kind of covered everything that we talked about.
Yeah, I think you covered it well. It's just, I guess the one question you said, if something does come up that they're having problems registering, but how do the kids know ahead of time that they would qualify? If it's that January date, if it's an August date, what that cutoff is, just so they do know before they get into the season whether they should be part of the season or not.
Well, the exceptions that I've already dealt with have been kids on the young side. And for both logistical and family issues, they were, age appropriate for Explore, but were old enough that challenge wouldn't be that big of a leap. So, we went through exceptions in that process. They're going to do the manual waiver. I guess my inclination is try registering them, with the regular team. And if you hit a roadblock because the birth date doesn't match or the grade doesn't match, then that's when you let me know.
Okay. So like the one, my daughter's actually, we're doing FTC this year instead, but she's a January birthday, and she was one that, she turned 14 this past January. So it used to be that would have called this year her 13th year and given her next year, if we hadn't done FTC, which she would have turned 15, 2 weeks later, and probably been 16 by the time, state came around, type of thing, because she's got that early birthday. Is that the cutoff that Wisconsin is sticking to? It doesn't actually apply to her anymore, but
I can't speak for First Wisconsin. They're the ones that are coordinating the FTC and FRC programs. But I can tell you for FLL, we're going to approve whatever exception is necessary to get the participant in the right program.
Okay.
Now, I don't want I don't want 8 third graders applying to be on a challenge team. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a younger brother or sister who's in 3rd or 4th grade and they want to be part of the challenge team, something like that. Conversely, we've had situations where we've got a 14 or 15-year-old who's, has challenges and is more appropriate to be in challenge than they would be in FTC or FRC. So, we'll just take it on a case by case basis and make sure they're in the appropriate program. At least that's my perspective.
And for the record, I do like the age, instead of the grade. I think it's more, more defined that way. I just wish they had not erased or taken out the date range, when the cutoff is.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's that one. There's a question in chat here. I'll read it so people watching later will see it because they can't see it on the Zoom. If I have 2 staff members as head coach advisors for my teams already registered, how essential is it for my parent coaches to register on First Inspires as official coaches?
If you,
So
Well,
these
what
are,
was-
are they the actual coaches of the team, or are they just additional parents helping out those 2 staff members?
So I am the staff member who's in charge of the whole program. And then I have an assistant coach who's, also advising. But each of my 4 teams also has parent volunteers who come and support each time. And then they'll also be there for the competition. They are parents. They're not paid. They are supporting to coach the team. Is it important that they register, or as long as we have our 2 staff advisors registered, are we covered?
as long as you have 2 staff advisors, as you call them, yourself and your assistant, that would be just fine.
I have a hypothetical question for you. So if you have 4 teams going to competition and you have registered 2 yourself and another coach, who's going to be with the other teams while you're with the other teams? So will you have registered?
It would be those parent coaches. So should I have each of the parent coaches then register with First? I know how to invite the kids or the parents to register the kids for their the youth registration. I'm not entirely sure how to have I guess when I look at mentor versus advisor versus coach, all of that's all of those little semantics, I'm not exactly sure how to navigate those. But like should I have one parent coach per team registered?
So
I'm
what I
thinking-
do is I coach and I administrate. So I put myself as the administrator for the majority of the rest of the teams, and for the team I directly coach, I make myself the coach. And then all the parent coaches are either the secondary coach or they are the mentors on the team. But if you don't include those parents as coaches, all the communication will come to you to disperse versus them getting it directly.
Yep.
So it's good to at least have one parent coach with you or the other administrator on the team so that there's no break in communication and you don't become the one guy who has to communicate to everybody all the time.
And I think
Gotcha. So I don't technically have to have them, but it's more convenient to do so.
that is
Yeah, I mean,
correct.
the other thing you may want to consider is whether the background check is something you want from, you can at least say that they were background checked and maybe you already did that through the school. Because they're working with kids. So.
Right. Thank you.
So there are 3 people in your team's registration that get all the communications. It's coach 1, coach 2, and the administrator. So however you want to identify those 3 positions, use it most efficiently for yourself. But as Jen mentioned, however you want to communicate with your teams, that's your choice. But those are the 3 positions that will get the email communications.
I think from a logistical
Yeah, thank you.
standpoint, sorry. I mean, my question is, you have 4 teams at a competition. Let's assume they're all at the same competition. And your registered coach and assistant coach are in a judging room. So how many YPP adults do we have with the other kids? So now you have 3 teams, and the YPP is where with them? I mean, I'm not trying to.
And YPP is Youth Protection Program.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So in general, we have historically tried to always have 2 YPP adults with a group of children at all times.
Okay. That was not something I had been shared with. Thank you.
I do also like the point that Jen has about the emails, because who wants to distribute all the emails to all those people as well? So, yeah.
with that being said, will the mentors, adult mentors, be included in those emails, or is it just the coaches?
Just the three people that I mentioned.
Yep. Okay.
I don't think I want to manage the database of all the mentors that are out there.
I don't think I want to manage Jen's database of all her teams out there.
On this topic, just looking at our registration, I'm unable to find a separation between our coaches who are listed as coach mentors and the administrator. There doesn't seem to be any designation separate for administrator, at least in the portal for First Inspires that I'm looking at.
The difference is if the person creating the team says they're going to coach or not. Okay, if the person coordinating and paying for the team is not the coach, then they get put in the administrator role.
Oh, so it has to do when the team is initially set up.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah, and you can invite if you are a coach that is the administrator and you want to invite somebody else to be the administrator, you can do that through the system. Then they can take over, and see those things. They can't see the students, but they can see the coaches and then the bills.
Yeah, I must not have that because I am not the team administrator. I can only invite parent, guardians, mentors, and youth mentors. That must be a limited access to the administrator or primary coach of the team that they can invite an administrator. Our team had been previously created, and we actually had to go through the rigmarole earlier this season of getting the previous coach to retire from the team and invite the new head coach to the team. So familiar with that, but I was just trying to look and see if we should set up someone at our school as an administrator that can help with those changes year to year.
Yeah, that sounds like that may be advisable. You should be able to add an administrator to it because I've had people do that for me.
I'll take a look and see it. Again, it might be because I am not the administrator or primary coach that I don't have access to add an administrator then.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a big difference between coach 1 and coach 2.
I could not pay. Well, that's because I don't have the P card. But anyway, yeah, it's not showing an option for me, and maybe it's something I can post a screenshot of and ask on the Slack channel if someone knows. Maybe I'm just missing the button. That might be what's going on.
What are you trying to pay for?
No, not anything to pay for. Just I was looking as you all were discussing the different roles, and I had never seen anyone labeled as administrator for our team, and I was trying to find it, and I do not see anything that says administrator anywhere on our dashboard.
It's
Agreed.
under
That's why
you should be under
I agree.
management.
Whoop, I missed that.
It should be under the members part of it.
Dave, what's your team number?
Our team number is, oh man, I don't have it memorized. We are 52983.
I'm just looking to see if you have an administrator.
Craig, I think I'm the administrator for 53650. If you want to pull up the example, I can't do it here on my cell phone. Or I can just post it in the chat, not this chat, but the Slack chat.
Yeah, okay. Dave does not have you don't have an administrator signed up yet. Jen, what team was that?
53650.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I'm just looking at the managed team setup, and there's nothing here in any of the options to either make one of the coaches the administrator or to invite administrator. And if I do the invite contacts, I do not get anything that says invite as administrator. So I wonder if that could be a legacy portion of the platform and maybe not all teams have it.
No, because there was a team that got registered this year that was able to invite me to be their administrator.
hold on. Let me make my screen bigger for what you guys are showing.
Oh, I shouldn't have that up there. I got too many personal information up there.
I'm not showing that, Brian.
Yeah, I was like, please, whoever's showing, don't share any personal details there.
Nope, I caught it when came up.
Well, I'll get with my other coach, and maybe he's got different access because he certainly did for some of the other stuff, and we'll check it out. It just might help us in the future as coaches transition on the team to have an administrator that can be the common thread from the school.
Right. Yeah.
So if you click on team leadership, invite contacts, legacy.
Yep, that's what I clicked on, and when I do that, the contact type that I have options for are parent, guardian, mentor, and youth mentor.
Okay. Okay.
So
who am I looking at?
I've already
I'm looking-
taken up enough of your time with this, so I'll move on from it, and we'll see if we can figure it out. But it was handy to know that there are other classification types.
Well, Jen and any other coaches that might have some insight, if you could throw something on Slack that would be helpful, that'd be great.
Yep, I'll check it out when I get home.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Like I said, rite of passage. Get through the first systems.
Yeah. First of all, let's start off with logging in 3 times.
I'm just impressed that you all have this many people in your organizations who are a part of it. I'm a lone ranger, just me and some parents.
Yeah.
Our previous coach, she was a Lone Ranger with 2 teams when my daughter first got involved, which is how I got roped in. So I've not experienced your pain, but I witnessed it adjacent.
Although I have been told that the QR codes to sign up participants works pretty well. So. All right. Any other questions on registration, regionals coming up?
If you click on change primary contact instructions just below invite contact legacy, it'll bring you to a page that basically has Flex or FL Explorer Inspires, and it talks about how to add a team administrator. So
I will check that out again. I read through that when we had to change our primary coach, but I didn't look at it for the administrator role. So thanks. Appreciate that.
Yep.
All right. Let's move on to any referee question or questions for the referees. Robot game.
We do have the one update that came out last Tuesday. Brian, I don't know if you have it handy. If I could.
1 second. Get up.
And this one was no
Share
big deal, because we knew it was coming. Basically, I kind of told you guys last Monday that I knew it was coming. But we'll go through it real quick, because our standard was gonna be not this format, so. And so on last week's coach call as well, before I posted it, this update came out on Tuesday. So when we were discussing it, I went back in and put the screenshot on top of the discussion there, so. Okay, so update number 9. This is mission 6. And I know a couple of you here, we've talked about this. I know Michael, we talked about it a few times. So to score this mission now, the mast has to be upright and resting on the latch. So no longer can you be tipped over center. It has to be basically lifted, latch goes down, it rests on the latch. So that's the scoring condition. I don't know if anybody has any questions about that. I think you guys pretty much figured that was how it was meant to be anyway. I don't know anybody that was really programming just to flip that over, but. Any questions?
I
on
have a
that?
question about it.
Oh,
I have a question, not about that one in particular, but the one that is the crossover one. Normally, you know, we have the cooperation where you get additional points if you work together. There is no additional points for both teams doing some part. It's 30 points per team for having it flipped, and then the additional 10 points based on how far it is, right? There's no points for working together.
yeah, you're talking about the submarine, right?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah. So it's not unheard of to have kind of a competitive shared mission either. It's not always a purely cooperative. We had a couple years back, we had a bridge where robots from either side had to go up and kind of fight for position and raise a flag and so on and so forth. So that's not unusual in that sense. As far as what you're saying, yeah, if your yellow team flag is down, it's 30 points. Sorry, it's mission 10, Brian.
Yep, just figure that out.
And then the other part of it is if the submersible is clearly closer to the opposing field, it's 10 points for your team.
Got it. Thanks. I was just in the recent seasons, there was always that additional point for cooperating somehow. I was just looking for it and didn't see it. Wanted to make
Yeah.
sure I wasn't missing anything.
Nope, it's not necessarily a cooperative thing. It's more of a shared mission, I guess. And I guess yeah, we can answer questions for any of the missions that you guys have or updates.
I had a kid asking me tonight if their robot is carrying a mission model and it comes back to home, it flips the arm, expecting to drop off the mission model and then head back out, but the mission model flies off the table. What happens to that mission model? How's that work? Is that considered home still, or?
Was it in home before?
Well, the robot had brought it into home, it flips the arm up, and the model flew off the table towards them.
So the mission model was in home before it flipped
Correct.
off to, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's no different than if it rolled out of home, simply grab it and bring it back. It's whatever.
Even if it's completely off the table, that's
Yeah,
fine. Like,
yeah, it's whatever.
okay.
Because there is no rule for that, Peggy. There's nothing that says what happens if something flips off the table.
Right.
So I guess the only thing I'm correlating here is if it was in home before, then it's because you can handle anything. Actually, you can handle anything in home, right? So if something's in home, the kid can pick it up and be off the table. So
Okay.
Our kids had a question, and I am stressing this. They have asked me. I haven't been able to get to this call for a couple weeks, and they were like, "You guys, you got to ask this at the coaches' meeting." So this is me asking the kids' question here. They want to know if they bring back artifacts to home, are they allowed to then toss them into the boat? Would that be legal? The artifacts have returned to home. They're not touching any model or the robot. They want to know whether or not it'd be legal for them to pick them up and, toss them into the boat.
well, it's certainly a good try, but it's not legal.
I didn't think so. They even thought that before, but I was like, I'll ask it if you want me to. So I will take that official answer back to them at our next practice. Thank you.
Well, and actually, we'll even touch base on something else that may be fun for you guys. I was looking for the rule for you real quick.
I think that would be the same rule that would limit us from just tossing a piece of the model, like a piece of the play field back into the play field. You have to have your robot has to do it.
Well, all scoring conditions have to happen from the robot. So that's first of all.
That's the rule. Yeah.
But we are going to have our hang in with the refs and judges call. So for you guys newer, that's where we actually do this same format of call, except for with the kids. So all of the kids are invited to join us, and we don't record it because it's the kids, and we don't want to have any exposure there if they turn their cameras on or not. So are we tentatively doing that next?
Not
It was
next
in the newsletter.
Next week is Explore. Focus on Explore. So then it would be most likely the week after,
Okay,
The
21st.
21st. 1st is the tentative date for that. And I think
Is it at the same time?
Oh yeah, right. We're replacing this call with that, or do we?
Well,
Thought we
I
were doing
guess
a
for the
different
kids,
day.
we could move it forward an hour if you wanted. Would that make sense? 6:30 instead of 7:30?
I'm kind of good with what. So to be determined, guys. We'll figure it out. I mean,
Well,
I don't want to take away a call.
We could do it on a different day too.
Yeah,
Like a
we'll figure it out and
Sunday
let you
night or
guys know. Just let you heads up that call is going to be coming, and what it is this type of format for the kids to ask their questions directly.
I have a question on Explorer. Has anything with dates been solidified at all yet?
They will hopefully be posted on Monday's newsletter. So the first one is not until mid-November anyway, and that one's only going to have a few openings anyway. It's just for whatever reason been more difficult getting back from the festival directors. So yeah, you haven't missed anything. I apologize for the delay. It's just I can't publish information I don't have.
Nope, that's fine. We for our Explorer program, we work it backwards. So we wait until we have the date and then we start meeting, if that makes sense, because it's younger.
okay. I can tell you, well, there's going to be a festival, at least one every month starting November.
Okay, so
last
there will
one-
be one in like January and February still.
Yeah, the last one will be April 13th, I think. I don't have it in front of me, but yes.
No problem. Perfect. That's
January,
super helpful.
February, March, and April. Yes, there'll be one in every month.
Thank you.
Yep.
I had a question on number 15, the research vessel, and it's kind of just a little debate for the latch. It states that the port's latch is at least partly in the research vessel loop. Does that mean just touching the loop, or does that mean inside the loop? Because there's a little bit of a, what does it really mean? Discrepancy there.
We kind of do that. We kind of explain that like a football plane, like when you cross in the plane of something. So if it's meant to be inside, it needs to be at least partially inside that loop.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too. Sounds good. Thank you.
Is that any part of the yellow crossing the plane of the ring then? So you have the port latch is the whole yellow piece, right? And it's very clear if the long end is inside the loop, right? But what if it gets there, it tilts it, and so part of the yellow latch is breaking the plane, like you just described?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood it correctly.
Yeah, I mean, so first tells us, the rules tell us that if a detail isn't mentioned, it doesn't matter. So it's not telling us that the long part has to be the part that's in, so it doesn't matter.
Great, thanks.
Any other questions, guys?
Anything in the chat?
Nope.
Wouldn't appear so. All right. So next week we'll start with Explore, but with the challenge tournaments right around the corner, we will dedicate plenty of time to challenge, answering questions and starting to go through the rubrics. So we'll start with Explore on Monday and then move into challenge afterwards. Hopefully all the coaches have had a chance to go through the rubrics. They are different than last year. And certainly we want to make sure you get your questions answered before the regional start, which, as many of you know, is a mere, 3-4 weeks away, something like that. So, all right. Well, I mean, I guess if there aren't any more questions, yeah, go ahead.
I've got one more. Where will we get the information about the student Zoom meet or the kid one? Is that going to come out in the newsletter, or are you going to send that out in email form?
It'll be in the newsletter.
Okay. And
I'll
so
post-
the link to that, once it's out, we can share that link to the kids?
Yes.
And I'll be posting that on Slack too, once we figure out what day and time it is.
And we'll have at least 2 YPP
Yep.
people on the call.
In
Thanks.
fact, Jay, if you don't mind, would you put a survey in Slack if that date, whatever the Monday is,
Yep.
and then would it be beneficial to move the time to 6:30, and then maybe we start the coaches call at 7:30, something like that?
Shall be done.
Thank you, sir. We'll do what is best for the coaches and their teams. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Hope you guys are having great seasons, and we'll be available. We'll be back on Zoom next week. So good night and have a great week.
Bye, everyone.